Welcome back to our last segment on Sergers this week. This is episode 5 of our Serger week. And Megan, once again, she has reached Serger goddess level now, and she is ready to show you the Bernina L890. And we love the L890 because it's really easy to learn. It's got built-in tutorials and things like that. I'm not going to get too much into it because I've already stolen some of her thunder. But Megan, take it away and let's see what you got on the L890.
Okay, last day of Serger week, so welcome back everybody. And thanks Rob, we'll send it back to you in a little bit, but I'm gonna nerd out about the Bernina L890 first. So this machine is one of my favorite sergers. With this, it is a 5-thread machine, so it can do cover stitching, overlocking, and combination stitches, but she's got such a good brain in her, it's crazy. I joked around when they first released this machine that they might have wiretapped my phone because it has some of my favorite features. And it was definitely, I had a conversation with my husband shortly before it was released going, I don't think I'm ever going to upgrade my 5-thread serger unless it had something like air threading, all of the different needle positions. Maybe if I lifted the foot and it swung out of the way, I can get into it. Maybe it had an extension table and a free arm for my sewing and embroidery, or not sewing and embroidery, that's not a serger, sewing and hemming capabilities. And maybe it has a tutorial on the screen to walk me through every single step. And guess what? Bernina did it. So let's talk about all of those things in a little bit more detail instead of the speed run that I just did because I got excited. So first off, this is going to be another one of those air threading sergers. So when I open it up, it doesn't look as intimidating as some. Now, mind you, I use this serger a lot, so she's a little fuzzy. So don't judge too much. But with them, all I do is activate the threading, and then on Bernina, I press the foot control to do it. Now, if I go to activate her and she's not quite in the right position, oh, good morning. I'll click her into place. I just push on the foot control again, locks her in, and then I can thread. So it makes it so I don't even have to hunt for buttons or remember to move anything. I just have this lever. And then when I go to sew, it reminds me to unhook it because otherwise it won't close the doors right. It does have a lot of storage in here. And as I mentioned earlier this week, I tend to walk off with tweezers. So I'm not sure where my tweezers went, but it comes with a really fantastic pair of tweezers. It comes in the door, my needle changing tool, my needle threading tool, and my little dusting brush, which definitely has had a little bit of love. But alongside of that, there's a little pad right here for you to put your needles in when you're switching it out. There's also the quick little cheat sheet right here, but to be honest, I forget it's there because I don't use that. Instead, I use the screen. Before I jump to the screen though, let's talk about some of those things. So you saw me take this off. This is an extension table that comes with the machine. I can take that off, and then it does have a free arm. So myself, I do a lot of garments, I do a lot of costumes, so having that free arm is very, very, very useful. It does come with a little cap in case you need a little bit of a smaller footprint that fits right there. To be honest, my setup at home, I have this machine with the Eleanor cabinet from Arrow, and it works perfectly with the slide-on table. Now, Bernina also makes a fantastic table from Horn that fits this machine, and it's gorgeous. So that's on my wish list, but we'll see. We'll see what Santa brings. Along with that, you do have all these different needle positions and so many different paths to thread that it looks intimidating, but I promise you it's not. I'm going to go ahead and hop on the screen here, and I'm going to go home. So if you have a Bernina, like a Bernina Q series or a embroidery or sewing machine from Bernina, a lot of these icons will look familiar. So you'll know eco mode will put the machine to sleep so it's not using as much energy. It's got the settings page, it's got your quick reference page, but one of my favorite things is going to be the creative consultant. So the little dress form is the creative consultant, or AKA the fabric selector. So on here, it's got a lot of different types of fabric, and if I'm not sure what it means, I can hit a question mark and go, what is that? Medium weight knit. So it gives me an idea of what follows under that category, like a sweatshirt or ribbing or something like that. So say that's what I want to do. I'm going to select the medium weight knit, and now it's going to ask me what stitch or what technique am I planning on doing for it? So say, for example, I want to do just a plain old cover stitch on it. So I select E, which is looks like the stitch I want to do. It's going to tell me what needles to have in there, what thread to use, what presser foot to use, and then when I hit my check mark, the machine is going to be smart enough, gives me a quick little guide because I'm on that mode, but I'll explain. And it's going to change tensions or whatever else I need to make sure that that ends up resulting perfectly on the fabric that I use. So it's really smart. Now here's the other way that it's really smart. I'm going to go back home, and then there's a mode called guided mode. You noticed when I'm in my stitch out screen, everything's purple. That's because a lot of the times when I'm serging, I tend to use this machine, so I have a lot of my settings memorized. I don't need to go step by step by step. But most of the time, if you're anxious about setting up a serger, if you haven't serged in a while and you need a refresher, the machine has a brain that will walk you through all of that. So I'm going to go into guided mode. Now you notice my background is blue. You can change those in the settings too. So if you're not a blue or purple person, you can switch it up. But I'm going to go overlock and just do a 4-thread overlock. Now I want to point out tons of stitches in the overlock section, right? And sometimes I run a little hot, so she's sensitive. But I'm going to just do a 4-thread overlock because that's what I've got my needles in place for already. But now it's going to walk me through step by step every single part of the process. So first is lift up my presser foot. Done. So far so good. No unthreading required. Oh, because I never actually threaded the other way. Attach the presser foot. So it's telling me to make sure I've got the right thing. Adjust pressure, foot pressure. If I don't know what something is and there's this little video icon, I can press that. It's actually going to show me a video of what that means, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. I'm going to walk it through. It's going to tell me where to put my needles. It's going to tell me if my knife should be up or down, which it should be up right now. Adjust the cutting width to 6. I'm not there. There we go. Attach the knife cover insert, which is this. But once again, if I don't know what that means, it's going to show me how you open the video, remove this part, and then put the one that looks like that on. And I like that they highlight what you're paying attention to in yellow, so it's hard to miss. Whoop. Then it's going to walk me through. You can see every single step. The last but not least is it's going to show me how to or tell me which thread paths to thread. But if I don't know what it's talking about, I can press that video and then I can go, oh, okay, and follow. It's basically like following the leader. And if I'm like, wait, I'm not there yet, I can pause it, get it there, then play again, and then see what she does next. And I go down, activate for threading, and I love this right here. So this machine actually reminds you too, when you have an air threading serger, you want to give it a little bit of extra length so that when you press on that foot control or press whatever button you need to thread it through, it'll thread through all the way. So she's very, very smart. And when you're done, you press check mark. It's going to remind you, hey, turn it around, just like I talked about earlier. And here you are. So it does have fantastic settings too. So you've got your default tensions here. I can always overwrite it if I need to. I will tell you I've only had to overwrite it once or twice, and it was on the really inexpensive knit from some big box store. And what I ended up doing, because I changed the tensions and I didn't want to forget because I use it a little more frequently than I probably should, I went to, when I picked a stitch, I went to my heart, and then you can see I've got light t-shirt knit. That was the fabric I was using for that. And then my mother-in-law does things for a dog rescue, so I made her a bunch of dog bandanas. So I found my favorite settings for that and saved that into my machine. So there's lots of different things you can save in case there's something different you're using. So say if you're like me and you like to play with decorative threads and you want to use 12 weight, but you want your tension to be a little bit looser for that, you can set that into the machine, label it 12 weight thread, and you know exactly what they want to be every single time. Before this machine, I'd always call this the real estate for sticky notes. I don't need the sticky notes anymore. So I did want to talk about a couple of things that I personally have done with the Serger. So we had an event a couple years ago where we made a zipper bag. We had plaid stuff, we did gathering, we did piping. And did you know you can actually put zippers on with the Serger? Because you can do that. Of course, I now have a little 3-year-old boy, and I had to make his Halloween costume on the Serger. So this was completely done on the Serger, including hemming of the pants, which are super stretchy. And by the way, part of the course, my 3-year-old decided to use stretch velvet for his costume. But you know what? This machine went through it like butter. It was fantastic. And you can even put zippers in with the Serger, so that's what I did on this. So if you haven't tried one of the Bernina 8 series Sergers, they have the L850, which doesn't have the screen, the L860, which does, and both of those are 4-thread only, or this beautiful L890 that does the cover stitch as well. You really need to go into stores and try them because she's also super, super quiet. So I'm going to put a little fabric underneath, get her ready to go. Absolutely beautiful. And look at that stitch. Gorgeous, right? So, Sergers are such a fun tool, and I hope this week has made you inspired and excited to go try one out at the very least. If you don't have a Serger yet, come check us out, and if you have questions, of course, call the number below. Now I'm going to pass it back over to Rob, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Megan. As always, you did a great job showing the L890. This is another one of those products, unfortunately, we cannot ship outside of Colorado, but we have amazing prices on these. We also have a Koala Serger Studio bundle available for this. So if you're within striking distance of one of our 4 stores here locally, come on in and take a look at this machine. If you're not, but you're still in Colorado, we can ship. Don't worry, it doesn't cost you anything. And you can call this number here. This comes directly to my cell phone, and I'd love to talk to you. If you get a voicemail, please leave a message because I'm sure my phone will be going a little crazy as it has been for this week. And so please give us a shout. But also, we have special low interest and no interest financing, anywhere from 6 to 72 months options for those. We'd love to talk to you about that. And then also, if you come to the stores, don't forget to register to win a Brother 1850D, not an L890, a Brother 1850D sewing and embroidery combo. It's a $1,400 value. I'll give one of those away at the end of our 5-week campaign, and I'm super excited to see if you win. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. And